If you don't have Mecca, the third problem is, what are you going to do with the Qibla? The Qibla is the direction of prayer. Every Muslim has to pray towards the Kaaba. And they have all kinds of machinations to help you to know where to pray. That's my hotel room. There's a little arrow that was on my hotel room in Kuala Lumpur, so I knew exactly where Mecca was. In every mosque, they have a mihrab where you can know exactly where the direction of Mecca is. And as you come down here, you can even get it on your apps, on your smartphones. According to Surah 2, ayah 143 to 150, the direction of the Qibla was then redirected back to Mecca in 624. So we're talking about 624, which means every mosque should be facing Mecca after 624, which means every mosque. There are no mosques prior to 624, right? Back in the last century, well, another 1905, two researchers, Dr. Creswell and Dr. Fehérváry, when they were digging around old mosques in what is today Iraq and also in Egypt, they came across the Fustat Mosque, the Wasit Mosque and the Kufa Mosque in Iraq and the Fustat Mosque in Egypt. And as they dug down to the original floor plans, they noticed that the Qibla for all three of these mosques were wrong. The two mosques in Iraq, the Wasit and the Kufa Mosque, were facing straight west. The one in Fustat was facing straight east. They should have been facing down here. This is the 1905 they noticed this. And they just said, this is a curiosity. They suggested that maybe these mosques were facing Jerusalem. They were off by 3 to 5 degrees. But that's understandable. They weren't really interested in that. They just wanted to look and see what they could find. We do know that we have documentary evidence from Jacob of Edessa in 705. He even admits in the 8th century that it is from all of this clear that it is not to the south of the Jews in the Maghreb here in the regions of Syria pray, but towards Jerusalem or the Kaaba. That's what he thought. He was wrong. Dan Gibson has the one that has gone and run with this question, and he has come up with this new documentary, which you can get. Go and get it. It only costs $15, called The Sacred City. You can get it online. Just pull it down onto your computer. And what I'm going to do now is introduce what he has now found, because he wanted to take this question a step further. He wanted to find out where these mosques were praying. So he looked at numerous mosques from around the world, starting with the Mosque of the Two Qiblas. You can see there's a picture of it in Medina. There's one Qibla going that direction, and this direction, and one Qibla going, if you look off to here, that's the older one going off that direction. The Mosque of the Two Qiblas supposedly was facing Mecca, but it was returned, it moved to Mecca later. What was the earlier Qibla? When they uncovered it, they were refurbishing the mosque in 1987, and as they dug down, they came across the original Qibla. And look what they found. The original Qibla was not facing Mecca, it was facing the opposite direction towards Petra in Jordan. The great mosque in Guangzhou in China, built in 630, which is Guangzhou, I've been told. Sorry, I got it wrong. Did I still say it correct? Anybody correct me? I got hammered by a Chinese the other day for saying it wrong. Guangzhou, Zhao. It's now Canton today. In 630, take a look, it's 12 degrees off. So where is it facing? Not Jerusalem, not Mecca, but Petra. Look at the date, 630. The Fustat Mosque outside of Egypt, the one we've been referring to, built in 641. The description of the original floor plan showed a Qibla to the east, and then later turned towards the south. Dan Gibson found that Qibla towards the east was Petra. Therefore, in 700 AD, it was still facing Petra. The great Mosque of Baalbek in Lebanon, the Qibla in 701. Look at the date, 701. Muhammad died in 632. The Qibla was canonized in 624. Are you following me what I'm saying here? We're talking about 85 years later, it was facing Petra, not Mecca. Baalbek in Lebanon, the Qibla runs right through Petra. When we go to Jordan, the Amman Citadel in Jordan. Now, this is interesting. Take a look at this one, because if you look carefully, you'll see two mosques. You'll see a bottom one here, that's built in 701. Then you'll see another mosque built up here later, built in 740. You notice there are two different Qiblas? That one there, the 701 mosque, is facing Petra. The one behind it and up above it, built in 740, is facing Mecca. Something happens between 701 and 740. Let's go and find out. The great Mosque of Sana'a in the capital city of Yemen in 705, the Qibla, again, is facing Petra. We go to 706, the Kirbat al-Minya in Israel, built by Al-Walid, who is a son of Abd al-Malik, on the shores of Galilee. Its Qibla is not towards Mecca, nor towards Jerusalem, but towards Petra. The Wasat Mosque that we talked about earlier from Iraq, built in 706. Archaeologists Krezel and Faravardi thought it pointed towards Jerusalem, but it doesn't. We now know that that mosque, the Qibla, is facing Petra. They were off by 3 degrees. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, now take a look at this one. This is the Al-Aqsa Mosque that's right there in front of the Dome of the Rock. It's built in 706, built on a citadel. But when you look at the entire citadel, both of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is here, and the Dome of the Rock, which is up there, when you look at the two of them, you will see that the entire citadel is facing one uniform direction. So both the Dome of the Rock, which is built in 691, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is built in 706, both of them are, in fact, all of the citadel is facing Petra. And it's still facing Petra today. It hasn't changed. The Damascus Mosque in 709, the Qibla is facing Petra. Now we're up in Syria. Staying in Syria, the Mosque of Umar in 720, we're almost 100 years later, and the Qibla is facing Petra. The Kirbat al-Masjar Mosque in the West Bank, we're now in Palestine. 724, we're now almost 100 years later, and the Qibla is not towards Mecca nor Jerusalem, it's facing Petra. The Anjar Mosque in Lebanon, 724. This is a good one because this one was abandoned, so therefore it's preserved well. It's still pretty much the way when it was abandoned. And when you look at the Qibla there, you will find that the Qibla is facing directly towards Petra, there in Lebanon. Notice how up to 725, all of the Qiblas are facing Petra, and uniformly facing Petra. Muslims have tried to come back to me and say, well, they just didn't know their direction. They were not sure of the fact because it was all desert area. I said, these are people that did not have roads. They had camels. And when you're on camels in the middle of the desert, you better follow the stars. You better know your direction, otherwise you die. These people certainly knew their direction. What's more, why is it that uniformly every one of them is facing